Imagine a world where every dollar in your wallet had to be backed by a certain amount of gold. Sounds unreal, right? But it was a reality once. Today, we're delving into the captivating world of the gold standard, a system that once governed our economy. This intriguing financial history shapes the way we perceive and use money today. From the establishment of the bimetallic standard in the late 18th century to the current fiat standard, the journey is nothing short of fascinating. So buckle up and stick around as we navigate through the captivating shift from the bimetallic standard to the fiat standard. Let's turn back the clock to 1792, when the United States established the bimetallic standard. It was a time of change, a time of innovation. The young nation was looking for a solid footing in the world economy, and the bimetallic standard was its answer. The bimetallic standard was a monetary system where the dollar's value was fixed in gold and silver. Imagine that! The dollar you held in your hand was as good as the precious metals it represented. It was a system that stood on the pillars of stability and predictability. Now you may wonder, why gold and silver? Well, these two metals were universally accepted as a form of payment. Their intrinsic value was recognized worldwide, making them the perfect choice for backing the US dollar. Under the bimetallic standard, the US economy thrived. It was a period of stability. Prices were predictable, making it easier for businesses to plan for the future. It also kept the government in check, preventing them from arbitrarily printing more money. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. The bimetallic standard had its challenges. For instance, the fixed ratio of gold to silver didn't account for fluctuations in market values. If the market value of silver rose above its fixed rate, people would melt down coins for their silver content, leading to a shortage. And yet, despite its challenges, the bimetallic standard served the US for a good 70 years. It was a system that brought much-needed stability and predictability to a young nation finding its place in the world. But as they say, change is the only constant. The bimetallic standard was not immune to this universal truth. The winds of change began to blow, and with the onset of the Civil War, a new monetary system was on the horizon. So, the bimetallic standard brought stability. But as we know, nothing lasts forever. War has a way of changing things, doesn't it? The Civil War certainly did for the US monetary system. When the cannons roared and the swords clashed between 1862 and 1879, the United States found itself in a new era, an era of the Civil War fiat standard. This was a period marked by the introduction of paper fiat currency, playfully known as greenbacks. But why greenbacks, you may ask? Well, they were dubbed so because of their distinctive green coloring on the reverse side. These were not just colorful pieces of paper, but a bold stride in the US monetary system. The Civil War, as we all know, was a costly affair. The government needed an efficient way to finance the war efforts, and traditional gold and silver reserves simply wouldn't cut it. They needed something more flexible, something that could be produced in large quantities to meet the rising demands. And that's where the greenbacks came in. The greenbacks were fiat money. This means they were not backed by gold or silver, but by the trust and confidence of the people. In essence, the value of greenbacks was determined by a decree or fiat from the government. It was a bold move indeed. This shift to the Civil War fiat standard marked a significant departure from the previous bimetallic standard. It was a time of great change and uncertainty. But like all things, this too had its time. The greenbacks served their purpose, financing the war and keeping the economy afloat during those turbulent years. But as the war ended and the dust settled, the United States began to look towards a more stable and internationally recognized monetary system. Change was in the air, and it was only a matter of time before the gold standard came into play. Gold, a symbol of wealth and power, became the standard in 1879. This shiny, precious metal was not just a decoration or a commodity, but a benchmark for our nation's currency. The gold standard, as it was known, defined the dollar's value in terms of a specific amount of gold. The gold standard was a system where every dollar was backed by its equivalent in gold reserves. The government held the gold, and dollars were essentially receipts for that gold. It created a sense of security, stability, and trust. After all, your money was as good as gold, quite literally. But the gold standard wasn't without its challenges. The late 19th century was a time of economic turbulence, and the banking system was particularly vulnerable. Bank failures were not uncommon, and they often led to economic downturns. These failures, in turn, caused a ripple effect, impacting the public's trust in the gold standard. The year 1896 brought a significant debate to the forefront during the presidential elections. The question was simple, yet divisive. Should America stick with the gold standard or shift to a bimetallic standard, incorporating silver as well? This was no mere academic debate. It was a question that touched the lives of everyday Americans, farmers, and industrial workers alike. On one side, there was William Jennings Bryan, a powerful orator and advocate for free silver. He argued that incorporating silver would make money more accessible to the common man, reducing the power of the wealthy elite. On the other side, there was William McKinley, a staunch supporter of the gold standard, who argued for stability and international credibility. As history tells us, McKinley won the debate and the presidency, and the gold standard remained in place. But even gold couldn't hold its ground forever. In 1933, the International Gold Exchange Standard made its debut. This new financial system was a significant shift from the previous gold standard we've been discussing. This was not just a system for the United States, but it was an international game changer. Under this new system, the U.S. agreed to convert dollars into gold for foreign governments at a fixed rate of $35 per ounce. This essentially set the U.S. dollar as the global reserve currency, creating a sense of stability in international trade, as currencies around the world were pegged to the dollar, which was backed by gold. However, as the decades passed, cracks began to show in the facade of this seemingly steady system. The post-war economic boom led to an increase in the amount of dollars in circulation, but the gold reserves in the U.S. remained the same. This discrepancy caused nations to question the ability of the U.S. to convert all those dollars back into gold. Meanwhile, the U.S. was dealing with the economic strains of the Vietnam War and the Great Society programs, which led to inflation. This inflation devalued the dollar, making the fixed rate of gold seem increasingly undervalued. Countries began demanding gold for their dollars, draining the U.S. gold reserves. So here we were, nearing the end of the 1960s, with a system that was teetering on the brink of collapse. The International Gold Exchange Standard, once a beacon of stability, was showing its inherent flaws. And then came 1971, a year that would change everything. 1971 marked the end of the gold era and the beginning of the fiat standard. As the gold-backed monetary system proved to be restrictive, it gave way to the fiat standard, a system where money is not backed by a physical commodity like gold or silver. Instead, the value of money is derived from the trust and confidence people have in the stability and integrity of the economy. In this system, the government, through its central bank, has the authority to print as much money as it deems necessary. This flexibility allows the government to respond more effectively to economic crises, but it also comes with its own set of challenges. The fiat standard is often criticized for enabling governments to print money recklessly, potentially leading to inflation or even hyperinflation. Despite these potential pitfalls, the fiat standard has been the dominant monetary system globally since 1971. The transition was not without its challenges, but it has allowed economies to grow at a pace that would have been impossible under the constraints of a gold-backed system. It has also given governments more tools to manage their economies, for better or worse. The fiat standard is still evolving, and it's likely to continue to do so in response to economic developments and technological advancements. As we navigate through the 21st century, it's worth remembering that our monetary system is a human invention, subject to change and adaptation. And that, my friends, is how we arrived at the money system we know today. From gold and silver coins to paper money, the journey of our financial system is truly fascinating. We've delved into the bimetallic standard of the late 18th century, the Civil War fiat standard, and the iconic gold standard. We've also explored the International Gold Exchange Standard and the current fiat standard. It's a journey that's seen the rise and fall of different monetary systems, each with its own unique impacts and challenges. If you enjoyed this journey through financial history, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, Express Financial Insights.